that does not make for a good floor. It's not stable, and it's just not attractive. So that's why that's used for just building materials, and you don't see any finishes with yellow pine or anything like that. You'll see a lot of this kind of floor, Louisiana, South Carolina, North Carolina. You'll see a lot of where pine. There's a lot of pine growing. You're going to see a lot of floors like that. But here you might see it in a lot of lake houses in East Texas, that kind of stuff. We don't do a whole lot of it in Dallas. It's a beautiful floor, but pine is also, fairly soft. You have
Mesquite.
Texas mesquite.
This
So-
is actually end grain.
Yeah, so mesquite there's two kinds of mesquite. There's southern or Texas mesquite, and then there's one that comes from South America. They look very different. They're not the same thing. The Texas mesquite is kind of a preferred deal. But mesquite, the trees itself grow they're all over the place. So when they cut them down and harvest them, you don't get a lot of long boards. You're going to get a lot of really short pieces of wood. It's usually pretty character grade, lots of knots and whatnot. We probably do one mesquite for every 5 years. It's because it's red, and most people don't like the red. But it is like concrete. I mean, it is super hard, super durable. As far as durability, it's a great floor. It's just got that red in it and a lot of short pieces. When you're talking about plank, that's an end grain floor, which basically they just take a piece of lumber and square it up to whatever size. Like that's a 3-inch piece, and then they just cut little pieces, and so you get, it looks like a butcher block or something when you put it down. 8 years ago, I bet we had 80% of our business was hand scraped and 20% of it was smooth finished. It is probably 90% sand and finish now and 10% hand scrape. So to kind of show you the difference, this is kind of an extreme, but this is a very smooth finished floor. There's no texture to it. Below, this is a very heavy hand scraped floor. I don't know if you could pick up the texture but I mean, you can really see it like over here. Yeah, you can see where the light catches, you can see the texture. It's not smooth. Hand scraping was a technique that was actually used, way back when in the castles of England and France, because they didn't have sanding machines. The hand scraper was their tool to try and get the floor flat and as smooth as possible. And so with light hand scrapes, that's kind of mimicking that technique. And then at some point it took on a whole other thing, and people were just beating the floors up, hitting them with chains, just really roughing them up as heavy as they could.
Scraping them against the
Yeah.
grain
You don't-
instead of with the grain.
Yeah, some people scrape them as opposed to like this way. They'd scrape them this way to tear it up even more. A lot of that's, like I said, it's going away. That look it still has its place, but we don't see near as much of it anymore. But you could see, if you had a floor like this, if you drop stuff on it, scratch it, dogs run on it, whatever, it'll almost just look like it's supposed to be there. If anything happens to these kind of floors, it's there. I mean, you're gonna see the dents, you can see actually somebody scratch this right here. You can see that indentation. There's nothing I can do to fix that short of resanding. So that's the thing. Smooth floors are a look, they're beautiful, but you've got to allow for what's gonna happen to the floor. It's gonna dent, it's gonna scratch.
So the prices between them are different for it?
So this is a little more expensive only because it's just a lot more labor intensive. So I mean, every bit of it's done by hand with a scraper that's about that wide. Where like this is all done with machines. Now, I mean, there's still guys running the machines, but it's not near as hard on them as this. I mean, this is a lot of work.
Backbreaking.
Yeah, it's really, really hard work. When you do something like and because we've been doing a lot of them over the last 10 years, or a floor we may have done or somebody may have done 30 years ago, 20 years ago that was hand scraped, you could still come in and re-sand this and turn it into a smooth floor. So as long as it's not been distressed so much that you don't have enough wood to work with, you can redo it and make it smooth again.